Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is the Hump Day edition of Heading Back to the Window with Scott and Scott. I am your host, Scott Steen, lead handicapper at winnersandwhiners.com.
And I'm your co-host, Scott Reichel, senior handicapper over at winnersandwhiners.com.
And together, we make up winners and we make up Heading Back to the Window. For living in the past there, buddy. Good to be here on a Wednesday. How you guys doing? Good to have everybody out there in his house. Yeah, Scott, how'd your day go?
Overall, not great yesterday, but I can't say it was awful. You win some, lose some, had some drive props, which worked out, but for the most part, just kind of sat back and enjoyed all the sports. You had the Astros, which was not a fun time, but, they completely no-showed an elimination game at home. Have fun living without Correa, Verlander, and probably not making it back to the World Series anytime soon. Congrats to Atlanta. Good job for them. Great job at the trade deadline, acquiring some key guys, including the World Series MVP in Jorge Soler, who I believe was around 35-1 before the series started.
Hip, hip, Jorge! He jacked that ball.
That was a bomb.
Jacked that ball. 446, I believe, was the official distance on that. They said Pujols was 455, but
Pujols was higher. Soler's looked like it wasn't going to start dropping for another 40 feet.
It's still headed to the Gulf down there in Houston. So, yeah, it's a brutal day for us. We were on the wrong side of everything. So, I'm not going to belabor all that. Congratulations to the Atlanta Braves. The team I kind of wanted to see win. I don't think there was anybody really rooting for Houston unless you had a rooting interest as far as geographically or financially.
See, that's why you took Houston to win the AL and not to win the World Series, right?
Right. Well,
so you ended up doing pretty well there.
I did, but yeah, on the macro level, but on the micro, as far as the World Series goes, I've had better series. I ain't gonna lie. It wasn't fantastic. It's what I'm saying to you. So,
no, but happy for Freeman, happy for the organization, happy for Atlanta.
Yeah,
who really had a lot of tough losses and some big games for the last, I don't even know, 20 to 30 years, something like that. Of course, the Falcons won's the main 28-3 one, but happy they exercised the demons. They finally won a title there. Dusty Baker, man, will he ever win anything as a manager?
I don't know, man. It seems like it might be passing him by. I'm guessing they're going to bring him back for another season. It's hard to fire a manager if you've got him to the World Series, but
they can't. But you look at his career, so many years of being so damn close and getting absolutely nothing.
Yep, absolutely. Jim Williams in the house, Super Sly here. Eric Jones, David Hess. Eric Jones called the Braves in 6 last night. Scott, good call right there. I wasn't worried about the Braves. I was worried about their pitching. I was worried about Max Fried, who hadn't looked good in 3 starts. And
he didn't look good in the first inning either.
It looked like we were geniuses in the first inning because Fried came out there and really struggled, had 2 guys on base. And then, like so many good pitchers, Scott, if you ain't going to get them. And that's what happened with Fried. He was able to settle down and pick up the win. Nice job by him and the Braves. So
I'm also not going to blame Garcia and the pitching staff for Houston. I know they gave up 7 runs. Your team didn't score any. You could have had Nolan Ryan out there. You weren't going to win the game. You got to score some runs at home.
That's the problem. That's exactly the problem. So Nathan's in the house. Nathan Cerna, he is a regular. Zodwick is here. He said, as a Reds fan, Dusty will not win a World Series. I tend to agree. As a Royals fan, I tend to agree with you. So, hey, we got a lot to get to today. I'm actually running the show. We don't have our shadow producer here, Scott. It's me running solo. So I'm just going to say that in advance. Any kind of screw-ups on the banners, if I don't get to comments in time, because I'm toggling between 2 different screens here and I won't see the comments at all times. So if I don't get to your comments today, it's because we hate all of you. No, it's because it's because I can't see it and I'm fucking juggling shit trying to eat an apple and drink coffee at the same time. So
I'll keep an eye on the comments, so it's fine.
Michelle's in the house again saying Scott. Now, Scott, do you want to address this? Eric says it's scripted. Said the MLB, I'm assuming, thinks the same thing about the NFL. It's all fixed. It's all scripted. We hear that every once in a while. Do you buy that at all?
No. I think that it's easier to script some sports opposed to others.
Yeah.
Especially if you have some officials that have a bigger say in the overall game. You make an argument maybe for umpires if they're unfair to one team or the other. But at the end of the day, you still have to put a 97-mile-an-hour fastball in play.
Yep.
Where basketball, you can easily call fouls with a pretty huge disparity between them.
Holding calls in the NFL, pass interference, that kind of thing.
Yeah, all those. You have hockey with some questionable power plays and everything like that. But you don't really have any of those serious situations when it comes to baseball.
They weren't squeezing Garcia or anything as far as the strike zone goes, or that for me, that was the difference with Max Fried. He was able to get his breaking pitch over.
Yeah, and I think the main play in that game was the check swing by Soler, which was called no swing, and then he hit a bomb about 1-2 pitches later.
Yep, the same at bat. So
yeah.
All right, let's get rolling, buddy. Let's try out my newfound skills here. You guys, check out our new banner, see if you like our graphics as we get to it, and start off with the people that took it in the shorts, the people that didn't do so well. Scott, it's the segment that you and I like to refer to as Call Dim Cops. All right, we're going to kick it off as we so often do in the world of college football. If you had the Akron Ball State over, Scott, and the 57, at 56 points with 2 minutes left. Akron had the ball 3rd and 6 at the 11-yard line. Oh, my God. Akron's quarterback, because Akron's going to Akron, buddy. They had a chance to win the game.
He got the first down.
They got the first down, and then their quarterback fumbled the ball into the end zone. No more points. No more Akron win. Ball State sneaks out a win, but it still lands under the total. Still stayed on 56. If you had the over 57 there, you thought you were in great shape right up until the time that you weren't. Call those cops.
So this one is one of the more interesting Call the Cops beats, because on one hand, it was a miracle you even covered for half a second. On the other hand, it's a pretty unfortunate how it ended up unfolding. If you had Toledo first half -5.5 against Eastern Michigan, you led by 4 points with 1 second left in the first half, out of field goal range. Toledo's going no huddle, sprinting to the line, threw a Hail Mary touchdown. So you're good. It means they're going to be up 11 at halftime. They reviewed it, and it was determined that the ball was snapped about half a second after the clock reached 0. They took the touchdown off the board. Toledo led by 4 at the half. So on one hand, you're down. I mean, you're up 4 with 1 second left. You're out of field goal range. It's a miracle you even scored.
Right.
But then to score, pull off the miracle, and have it overturned, that's got to hurt.
I was not aware of the fact that too much time was a reviewable call.
Well, I think it's a fair review if the clock hits 0 and then they snap the ball after. I think that's fair that they can review that.
No, because
the issue is you have 60-year-old referees trying to sprint to the line, and they can't exactly place the ball down as quickly as you need them to.
Well, sure, that's part of it. But here's the other thing: the way they do it is the umpire keeps track of the clock, of the time clock, the 30-second clock, 40-second clock, whatever. So they see it go to 0, and then they look. And if the ball's not being snapped as they look, they let it slide. So if you go back and review it, there's going to be a couple times every game where that clock hits 0 and the ball hasn't been snapped yet. But that's not going to get called on the field 99% of the time, as long as they're within that roughly 1 second window there. So
it's like an NBA review. I was fine with them reviewing it.
Okay. All right. Very good. And we'll finish up. If you had the Pelicans +10 going up against the Suns, they're in great shape. They led by 11 at halftime. They led by 6 after the third quarter. You still think you're good. You got 16 points to play with. Well, we've heard this story before, Scott. We've been down this road. They were outscored 36-18 in the fourth quarter. They end up losing by 12. If you had New Orleans +10, you're used to being disappointed. And last night was no different. Call those cops.
First of all, if you had the Pelicans with no Brandon Ingram, I respect your courage. And it looked really good for the first 3 quarters or so. But New Orleans without Zion, that's just a terrible basketball team.
Not good. Not good. And without Ingram, they're really, really, really not good. All right. Well, you know the difference. There are some people that were in good place last night. Besides Eric Jones, there's some people that had some winners out there. And they had nice, easy winners because there were certainly some of those available. You know who you are because you were sitting in the rocking chair, baby.
So looking at the first one, if you ended up having the Ohio Bobcats +7 against Miami, Ohio, you were in very good shape because they never trailed. They led by 14 at half, led 28-0 with 10:30 left in the third quarter. They almost blew the entire game on the money line, but as for a spread, it was never in doubt. They won by 2.
Yep, and we talked about this game a little bit. If you had the Braves on the money line catching a nice price somewhere in the neighborhood of plus 115, 120, depending on when you got it, not much doubt about that one. As the Braves led 3-0 in the third inning after the Soler bomb, they led 6-zip after the fifth inning. They ended up winning 7-0. The Astros really never put up a fight in this one. If you had the Braves money line, congratulations to you. Congratulations to the Braves because you were sitting in the Game 6 rocking chair.
And the last one was in hockey. If you had the Senators and the Wild over 5.5 goals, 4 goals in the first, 4 goals in the second, you don't even have to watch the third, but the game ended 5-4.
All right, very good. The Underman in the house. Alvaro Jimenez says the NFL wants the Chiefs to make the playoffs. That's why Rodgers is out. We're going to talk about that game as the week goes on, but I'm not sure it matters.
Do you think it had to do with the Halloween party he went to dressed as John Wick? Great costume, by the way. Great costume by Rodgers.
It really was very good. All right. So, Scott, you and I, we almost forgot about this one. It's the easiest donkey of the day that you're probably ever going to have. Let's find out who is most deserved of the golden feed bag today. Oh God, it's not the last time we're going to award it to them, but it's certainly apropos today. It's the donkey of the day. All right, Scott. So the CFP college football playoffs first poll came out yesterday. How'd it go?
Well, not well for most people with common sense. You're looking at how it went overall. Georgia, number 1. Good start. You got to start somewhere.
Yep.
Bama, number 2.
Uh-oh.
Really?
Uh-oh.
Bama, number 2? Really? I don't know about that one. Going down the rest of the line, Michigan State, 3.
Okay.
Okay. Undefeated, beat Michigan. Okay.
Yeah. Big conference there. Okay.
Oregon at 4. I don't mind that. Because of the fact that Oregon has one loss against Stanford. The referees hosed them. They should have won the game. They should be undefeated. They beat Ohio State head-to-head.
Bad loss.
Anyway, you had Ohio State, 5. Fine with that, too. They've been playing well lately. Then you get to 6. And you might be wondering, where's one undefeated team that was number 2 in the AP poll? Where's Cincinnati?
Still are number 2 in the AP poll, by the way.
Still number 2 in the AP poll.
Yeah.
Cincinnati is number 6. So my question that I have for you, I have a couple. 1, what does Cincinnati have to do? There's basically automatically a bias against group of 5 schools every year. And 2, let's just say Georgia loses their next game.
Right.
Can Cincinnati be number 1 in the AP poll and not be in the top 4 for the college football committee?
I think that's exactly what you'd be looking at. Yeah.
Fascinating stuff, isn't it?
If you're a Cincinnati fan, or by the way, a fan of any group of 5 school today, what hope do you have of ever making the college football playoffs?
Everybody got hosed. Even UTSA is behind Minnesota.
They're not ranked.
Minnesota
UTSA
lost to Bowling Green. You're telling me that UTSA can't be ahead of Minnesota? What, are you serious?
So Zodwick thinks that Cincinnati is going to be number 6 in the AP next week. I don't agree with that. I don't think they're going to drop 4 spots if they don't have a terrible performance.
I think they might meet in the middle. I do think that 2 in the AP compared to 6 in the college football system does seem like a little bit too big of a margin. I think they'll group it somewhere in the middle.
I think they'll be in the top 4 still.
Yeah, but the question you have to ask is how many teams does Cincinnati need to lose? Because Oklahoma's behind them. If Oklahoma runs the table, are they putting an undefeated Oklahoma team that also wins a conference title over Cincinnati, who's undefeated? The answer might be yes.
Yes.
So Oklahoma might even jump them from behind. Oregon needs to win out. We know that. Big Ten doesn't really matter because I think either Michigan State or Ohio State win out the rest of the way, they're getting in. So they need Michigan State and Ohio State to lose one time apiece. Oh, Cincinnati's just screwed. Like, I don't really know what the procedure is, but my question, I have another one for you. Do you think that the Alabama Crimson Tide, if they lose in the SEC title game to Georgia,
yes,
and Cincinnati runs the table,
yes,
is Bama ahead or behind Cincinnati?
I don't know. It's a world gone mad. They've got to be behind, but will they be? I don't know.
I agree with Brandon. If Ohio State runs the table, whoever wins the Big Ten with one loss or no losses from Michigan State's perspective, they're going in. It's the way it is. The Big Ten's getting in for one team. But Cincinnati, come on, guys. Can we at least make it close? You're putting them at 6?
A couple of interesting points. Zach Vaughn says over on Facebook, by the way, what's up, Facebookers? Good to see you, Zach. Said Cincinnati beat Notre Dame on the road. They're getting screwed. No respect. Totally agree.
Yeah.
And the real Jolly Roger may be pointing out the real problem with Cincinnati. They haven't been covering the last couple of weeks, Scott. Does that matter?
I think you could talk about the eye test, which is a made-up metric that the committee uses when they have no actual reason to put a team above another team. But at some point, I did factor that in, thinking they beat Navy by 1 touchdown. They beat Tulane by double digits, which is actually more than Oklahoma beat Tulane, but separate story.
Right.
They didn't cover. They struggled for about a half against those teams. But the committee claims style points don't count.
That's right, Zach.
Eye test, whatever.
Yeah, margin of victory. Doesn't matter.
The committee makes stuff up as they go. You have to remember, it's not actually which 4 teams should get in. It's which 4 teams get the best ratings. And that's why Cincinnati's screwed. And I said that on the radio show a couple weeks ago. We disagreed about that. At the end of the day, they will always have something out for the group of 5 because the ratings aren't as good as seeing Oklahoma or Ohio State for the 45th time.
Yep, agreed. Brandon Wilhelms wants to know if they know it's early, but is there any reason not to hammer Michigan State against Purdue? We'll talk about that as our college football week becomes a little more in focus. But
first glance, I agree with you, though.
Yes,
I don't understand that line at all.
Yep, I think this Purdue team peaked about a month ago.
They beat Nebraska. I'm really proud of them. Like, Michigan State's a good football team.
Well, I backed them at one point, so I backed them against Iowa. So from that point on, they were screwed. Once they had my attention and I was behind them.
Well, they did cover against Iowa, so that counts.
They
beat Iowa outright.
Was it Wisconsin?
Oh, yeah, Wisconsin. They ended up
losing.
That's the
one. Where they were 27-7 or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
as a whole, college football committee, it's a joke. Give us 8 teams, 12 teams. We need something. We need parity.
All right. So we'll have a lot more to say about that coming up, I'm sure. So let's move on and find out who was drinking today, Scott. Who makes those odds and maybe had a little too much to drink. We had a couple of different options here today, but let's find out who it was in today's episode of the Oddsmakers Were Drunk. Go ahead.
So we got to look at the action. You had Toledo and Eastern Michigan. Total in that game was 54.5. And that sounds like where it should be. You know, Toledo, decent defense. Eastern Michigan offensively sometimes struggles. You had 28 points in the first quarter. Not ideal. Then you had 24 points in the second quarter.
Not ideal.
For the under, not exactly ideal.
No.
So you're sitting at 52 points at the half.
Full disclosure, I had the under.
Okay.
I will always be transparent with my picks, both good and bad. Not one of my finer moments. We had the under in this game.
Either way, anytime you have a total of 54.5 and they almost match that in the first half.
Yeah.
The game landed over 100.
Yep.
We got to put that as Oddsmakers Were Drunk. That wasn't even close.
Can't argue with that. Can't argue with that one bit, my friend. It's not good. Not good at all. So all right, buddy. So now we're in the middle of action. We've finished up with the World Series. It's time to concentrate on a little bit of basketball, both college starting up and the NBA. And of course, we've got a lot of football, man. We're in the middle of what 3 straight weeks of football. Is this the best time of year for you?
More action.
More action, baby. And yeah, we've got and spoiler alert, we've got we got off to a slow midweek action start. It's not going to stop us from taking a action play for our Bet the Farm play. So just spoiler alert about that. But let's talk a little NBA tonight, Scott. Shall we?
Yep, let's do it.
You want to talk any hockey? We don't ever have time to talk hockey. I know we got some people that follow hockey. You got any hockey plays tonight? There's not much on the board. There's just 4 games. Anything you like out there?
I feel like everyone's going to be slamming Carolina because Chicago ended up winning its first game of the season. Kane had a hat trick. Carolina's undefeated. It's a very good hockey team.
Right.
You're looking at the price there. You'd assume it would be around like minus 170, minus 180. It's not even close. It's close to like minus 145, minus 150, which really confuses me because I think Carolina's a really good hockey team. But for that matchup, I like the over in that one. I do think with Kane back in the lineup, the offense should look a lot better for Chicago, especially on the power play, because Kane is phenomenal on the power play. Carolina has a lot of weapons offensively, whether it's going to be Aho, Teravainen, and they got a lot of guys. I like the over. I think you'll see goals in that one.
Okay. All right. Very good. See, I like to give you a little chance to show off your hockey prowess because I know you're a hockey guy. You guys know the stats on the Cleveland Cavaliers first half. I notice they've been leading or very competitive.
Yeah.
I
do. First half and first quarters, Cleveland has been practically undefeated. I think they've failed to cover once in the first quarter. They've gone off to some really fast starts so far this season.
Yeah, they don't score a ton of points. They've just been doing it with defense because they're like bottom half. They score 54.2 points per game in the first half.
Well, when you have Evan Mobley and Jared Allen in the same lineup together, your rim protection is elite, arguably the best in the league. Because those are 2 really good just shot blockers, and you have them together. That's very, very dangerous.
Yep, agreed. They've played very good defense. They're number 9 in the NBA in first half defense, giving up just 52.6 points per game. So, yeah, that's not a bad first half team there at all, right?
No, not at all.
All right,
decent overall team.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think they're going to make the playoffs for Cleveland.
No, I think they'll probably miss out on the play-in game as well. I think they'll probably finish somewhere around 11 in the East. I still like what they've done in terms of progress moving forward. They have a bit of a COVID issue now. Kevin Love's out, Markkanen's out, so they're a little bit shorthanded. But if you're looking at props, I like Mobley. I like Jared Allen. They should play a bunch of minutes tonight.
Oh my God, how's Cleveland ever going to play without Kevin Love? That's unusual.
Well, the point is he's the bench big man, and Mobley, with the game without Kevin Love against Charlotte, played 40 minutes. So he's getting a lot of playing time.
That's a lot of time for a big man. The real Jolly Roger likes the Oilers on the puck line.
Oilers, solid team so far. We know McDavid is almost a shoo-in for about 2 points every game he plays in because he's a lunatic. Draisaitl's great too. Edmonton has the best power play in the league. You're looking at the Predators. They really don't have much to brag about. I like Saros in net. I think he's a pretty good goalie. But besides that, I'm looking at Edmonton as well. Maybe Edmonton in regulation if you want to try to cut into that minus $2 price for the money line. I do think, especially in Edmonton, they should look pretty good. Look for them in regulation.
Okay. That's good. That's a good tip right there. Yeah. What do you see in the NBA? We got a pretty full NBA slate tonight. One of the most intriguing games, Scott, is the last game on the card, and that's Charlotte and Golden State. Charlotte started off like gangbusters, even started off well in this West Coast swing. They've kind of backslid a little bit last couple of games. What do you think about this Golden State team tonight?
But looking at the overall matchup, I think Golden State should fare pretty well. We know Golden State at home is a very solid home team. Curry, I do think, is going to have a big game tonight because you're looking at the backcourt for Charlotte. They have a couple of good players. Rozier's finally healthy again. We'll see if he stays that way. LaMelo's been very good offensively. They are both not very good defenders at all. I'm expecting Curry to have a big game. I think he might go for 35-40. So if you want to look for a player prop, maybe a player prop parlay, look for Curry threes, points. I see a pretty high-scoring game breaking out between two teams that love to go up tempo. I think Draymond could also go for double-digit assists and rebounds. We'll see what happens there. But for the overall numbers here, I know it's tough taking overs in today's NBA because of the officiating and everything like that. This total does seem a bit low. I do think you're going to see a track meet breakout for this one. But for the actual game itself, I think Curry should have a huge game. I think you might see good numbers from Rozier. Rozier's player prop numbers are a bit underpriced because of how little he's played up to this point. He had 20-plus points last game. We know he's a good shooter. I think you maybe look into him for the future as well.
You know, I will be anxious to see this game because both of these teams have played pretty good three-point defense up until this point. Golden State allowing their opponents to shoot just 30.5% from deep, and Charlotte 32.5%. So something's going to have to give because they're both very good teams from beyond the arc. Charlotte 41.1% so far this season. So the rubber's going to meet the road. You've got the immovable force against the or whatever it is, the irresistible force against the immovable object. So something's going to have to give. I don't know that I love the over in that situation. I think Golden State may be just the better team, and of course Charlotte in the middle of that, doing the West Coast thing as they're kind of getting that out of the way.
Well, for the record, as you know, I've been a pretty big under better so far in the NBA season. It's gone pretty well for me.
Yep.
That's why I'm saying the total because it's a rare spot where I like the over more than the under.
Charlotte's
I'm not sure if I'm going to play it.
Too, by the way.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to officially play it, but I'm definitely not taking the under in this game.
Yeah, it's a kind of a pass for me as far as the total goes because Charlotte's 6-2 to the over, and Golden State's seen the under hit their last 5. And
they've also played Oklahoma City about 2-3 times already. Yeah, it's just a walking under at this point.
They played Sacktown and they put up 119. Their defense, like I said, has really been good, and yeah, it's.
I just think their defensive numbers are a bit inflated because they played the Thunder 3 times, and the Thunder's offense is arguably the worst in the league.
True. They played the Thunder twice, dude.
It was twice or 3 times?
Just twice.
Really? I thought it was 3.
No, they've played 6 games.
I know. For some reason, I thought they played against them 3 times, but
no.
Okay.
Anyway,
either way,
what else you got for tonight?
Looking at everything else, I really went deep into the player prop bin tonight. I really wasn't looking at many overall spreads. For spreads, if you want to hold your nose with a dog, I don't mind Orlando plus the 7 against Boston. Of course, that involves back in the Magic, which is dangerous in itself. Boston's got a bunch of problems.
They do.
We talked about Marcus Smart and how he was calling out Tatum and Brown for not passing the ball enough. We've seen them fall apart in the fourth quarter time and time again under a new coach. Orlando isn't a good team, but they're young, and they've actually hung around a decent amount against some good teams.
Yeah, agreed. Nathan Cerna says the Warriors come out and play yay. It's hard for us not to say that every time we talk about the Warriors, by the way. And he's giving you props on your under NBA totals. You've been
so far they've gone well, so hopefully that carries on. But of course, if you were trying to pay attention to my daily videos on the individual side, I gave out a player prop this morning. Guy had COVID 2 hours later. So I made a new video. If you want another player prop, I have one on a guy who's actually going to be playing tonight.
Is it Aaron Rodgers?
It is not Aaron Rodgers. No, it is not.
By the way, I was smart enough. I take all the blame for Aaron Rodgers getting COVID because yesterday I took Green Bay +2 because you knew that number was going to go the other way.
It moved.
It definitely moved. And now it's Green Bay +7, 7.5. So you're welcome, everybody. Sorry, Green Bay fans. I pretty much fucked you there. Lawrence Anthony says Cavs game tonight 217, a little bit high, especially with Markkanen and Portland struggling lately. Boy, Portland struggling. That is no shit. And
I didn't like Portland going into the year. I don't think they did really anything during the offseason to help out.
Well, they broke Damian Lillard, so that's doing something. I don't know what they did, but they fucked him up.
Yeah, Zach, if you backed my original play on Jakob Poeltl, you get your money back. So you can just bet that on my second play that I gave out.
Yeah, just roll that right into Scott's.
Just roll it over. You get your money back. He doesn't play, it's voided. You're fine.
Absolutely.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, he must start for that bet or must play for that bet to have action.
Yep.
All right. What else you seeing? You feeling anything else on the NBA?
I'm looking at Sacramento just because
Sacktown.
I despise that New Orleans team. I made it very public before the season started.
Are you sure you're not bringing your anti-Pelican bias into this?
I'm not. They're a terrible basketball team.
They're
And
really
plus,
bad.
Brandon Ingram did not play yesterday, so he's
Right.
also injured. So if you're missing Zion and Ingram might play in this game, he might not.
What else you
You're
got?
basically screwed. But New Orleans going into the year, I didn't like anything they did during the offseason. They were my favorite win total I gave out on a podcast I appeared on a couple of months ago. That team just stinks. There's really nothing to like. You look at the offseason, what did they do?
Yeah. I'll tell you what I like. I don't hate Sacramento team total over there either. Catch about 212 or 212.5, something in that neighborhood.
Yeah, Harrison Barnes keeps playing well. We know De'Aaron Fox, a good point guard. Hield's been shooting the ball really well so far this season.
Yep.
The spread of 4.5 sounds low. I really don't like this New Orleans team, especially off a back-to-back that we mentioned, how they blew the game in the fourth quarter against Phoenix. If Ingram doesn't play, this line will probably move to around 6 or 7. Even if he does play, I'm not sure they're going to cover because this team is really not good.
No, they're not. They're not good at all. All right. Anything else before we move on to Maction?
For the most part, no. Looking at everything else, I'm interested in the line movement in the Clippers game. They barely beat the Thunder. I don't think the Clippers are very good. Defensively, they're good. I'll give them the credit for it. But I am kind of fascinated by the line movement against Minnesota. I get D'Angelo Russell's out. I get Patrick Beverley's questionable. We know Beverley's not really worth that much besides some intensity, etc. Are the Clippers actually good? Because we both had money on the under involved in the Clippers game.
Right.
They have no offensive firepower at
No.
all besides Paul George. That's all they have.
They may be good, but they ain't good yet.
Correct. So I'm interested in Minnesota. You have Towns against Zubac. Good luck with that. I think Towns should probably put up 30 in this game.
Yep.
I think if you want to find a dog, maybe a team total, you want to look at a Minnesota team that might be able to give Los Angeles all they could handle. I do question why the Clippers are favored by that many points.
Good point. I had somebody asking about the Chicago-Philadelphia game. You got Joel Embiid coming back tonight. Both these teams playing pretty good basketball right now. Chicago kind of a surprise, as if they're 6-1 straight up, 6-1 against the number. Philly is 4-3 against the spread, 5-2 straight up, and of course that's without Embiid for the most part. Get him back tonight. Philly -2. Scott, is there a little bit of value there as the upstart Chicago Cubs, maybe Chicago Bulls, rather get a lesson from Joel Embiid and the Philadelphia 76ers, or do the Bulls stay hot?
I think it's very tough because Philly has fared pretty well over the last couple of years against Chicago. But if I asked you right now, who's the second most talented player on Philly's roster, with Simmons being out, you'd probably say Tobias Harris, right?
Yeah, I think you have to.
He's out. So even with Embiid, unless Embiid goes nuts, I do think Chicago has the better overall roster. I'm staying away because Philly at home's always dangerous. Embiid might go for 35. But if you want to put a sprinkle, maybe a money line parlay on with Chicago involved, I don't mind that. I'm staying away, though.
I know you've been riding your Brooklyn Nets team total under pretty hard. How do you feel about tonight?
Well, it was going really well. Then they beat me. I had an under, 114.5. They scored 117 despite setting the franchise record for field goal percentage. They still barely went over. I have a hard time picking this game because I'm looking at Atlanta's injury status. Collins might not play. I'm assuming he's not going to play. Trae Young has a bad knee. He might not play. Bogdanovich has a bad back. He might not play. Until I know anything about the injury status of those three guys, I'll have to lean Brooklyn. And if you want to gamble on it, assuming Atlanta might be a little bit conservative with Trae Young, Collins, and Bogdanovich, I'll take Brooklyn now. But when it comes to totals and everything like that, I'll lean under because of those guys being injured. I can't make a case for Atlanta not knowing who's going to play. You know?
Yeah, good point. And that's the thing. And you never know how banged up these guys are when they miss their last game and then they come back, especially with, any kind of a leg injury and with a knee, a quad, an ankle, something like that.
It's also still the first 2 weeks. We know Atlanta is going to try to keep Young healthy as much as possible. So would I be shocked if he doesn't play in this game? No.
Yeah. And, James Harden, we've talked about this a little bit. James Harden's shooting 40% less free throws than he was last year, Scott.
He did attempt 19 against Indiana on Friday. So he has started to adjust a little bit. Durant, of course, got ejected in the Detroit game. He's been still playing well. The Nets, I don't think they're a great team right now, but against a potentially banged up Hawks team, especially in Brooklyn, I do think that number seems a little bit short at 5. 5 seems like it's already priced in that one of those guys is not going to play for Atlanta,
It
doesn't it?
does feel that way. Yeah. And of course, no sleep till Brooklyn. That's
Yep.
the what we need to keep in mind. Okay, bud. So we got a couple action games tonight. We've got Northern Illinois and Kent State. I find this line curious, Scott. How about you? Kent State is favored by 3.5. Northern Illinois played some pretty good football, sir. They're 6-2 straight up. Kent State just 4-4. Northern Illinois is covered 5 out of their 8 games. Kent State is just 3-5 against the spread. Neither one of these teams do a great job at stopping the run. Northern Illinois, a little better running team. So who do you got here?
I'm taking the points. I love Kent State. I love the up-tempo. I'm a huge fan of Crum at quarterback. I like the receivers as well. From what I've noticed so far, it's not really a shocker. The MAC being the most unpredictable conference in all of college football.
Right.
Taking the points has been a pretty good strategy so far in MAC games this season.
Mm-hmm.
We mentioned Bowling Green beating Buffalo outright.
They have,
as
by the way,
double-digit
Bowling
dogs.
Green is yet to not cover, by the way. I believe they're what, 8-0 against the number? 8-0 ATS?
I think so. But the point is that you're looking at MAC teams against each other. I do think that taking the points has been an effective strategy so far. Kent is good, but you're looking at a total that's in the 70s. You're expecting a track meet. I'm expecting chaos. Give me the points in what should be an extremely fun game that resembles an Arena Football League score.
All right, very good. All right, Zodwick. I don't know why you guys are better at it than I am. I know why today because I'm doing different things. Smash the like button. Thank you. Yes. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm not very good at begging for approval, Scott. I'm just not. And I know it's part of the deal where you have to say, don't forget to like and subscribe because you think I space off listening. I know not everybody thinks about it while they're watching. So yes, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't done that already. Tell your friends, share it on social media, all that good stuff. We are it's just going to get cooler. We're about a week away maybe from being able to put video in. So when we tell you about the Bet the Farmer, we tell you about Call the Cops, we're going to be able to show you the clips and we're going to show you that kind of stuff. So anyway, yes, please. Thanks, buddy. BN Trabajo, he's taking Northern Illinois in the points because they definitely aren't horrible. Yes.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the MAC strategy right there.
They're the only team left that's undefeated in the MAC.
Yep.
So I think taking points with them, maybe even a money line shot, isn't that bad. I'm rooting for Kent State because I do find them entertaining, but Northern Illinois, they've also been pretty entertaining. Rocky Lombardi, he might have been awful at Michigan State. He's really good against MAC defenses.
Fair enough. All right, let's do it, Scott. We've put our heads together. We have come up with our favorite play for the day. You might notice there's one game we haven't got to yet. Let's get ready to do that as everybody climb on your tractors, put on your straw hats, fire that tractor up because it's time for Bet the Farm. All right, well, it's going to be me today, kids, and we're going to take a look at the Central Michigan game as they square off against Western Michigan. It's the Directional Michigan Bowl, as we couldn't be more happy about that. We are going to play Central Michigan team total over 27.5. That is available on FanDuel at even money plus 100, everybody. And Central Michigan, they've recorded at least 30 points in 2 of their last 3 games. They've averaged 29 points per game on the season. That's pretty good. Meanwhile, Western Michigan defense, not great. They've allowed at least 31 points each of their last 3, and they have surrendered over that stretch 36.7 points per game in those 3 games. Quarterback Daniel Richardson may be one of the best quarterbacks you've probably never heard of because he plays in the MAC. He leads the MAC 288 yards passing per game and 14 touchdown passes. And lastly, a little recency bias. How'd they do last year, Scott? Well, that game ended 52-44 as they put up 96 points total, and that was not in overtime. So today's Bet the Farm play is going to be Central Michigan team total over 27.5.
Western Michigan's a good team. defensively, they're not. So we'll take our chances.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, guys. As always, thanks very much for joining. Where did I put my compass? Yeah, no shit. Thanks very much for joining us, everybody in the house. Real Jolly Roger saying NIU 4-0 in the MAC so far. Damn right. Going to be 5-0 after tonight, baby. All right. You guys have a great day. Scott, any final thoughts?
No, not really. Hopefully we all make some money.
That's very, very good. Yeah, like and subscribe, share it, tell your people about it. And yeah, that's it. You guys, good luck today. Hope every one of those plays go well for you. Hope every one of those tickets turns into cash money in your pocket. You guys have a great day. Thanks for watching. Thanks for commenting. And we'll see you tomorrow on Heading Back to the Window with Scott and Scott. Take care, everybody.